True that.
The fans have come to expect it.
True
Yeah.
that.
Oh, that's too funny.
Something always goes wrong. It's normally Aaron's fault.
Hello. What's happening, everybody? As you can see, my camera is nice and blurry, which is a great start. There you go. What's happening then, guys? Welcome to another show of Boom Talk, hosted by yours truly and SkullCrusher. What's happening, Skull?
Yo, Aaron, Martin, Beast Mode, YouTube chat. Boom! Goes the dynamite. How's everybody doing today? Super excited for episode 2 today. Thank you for having me. This is going to be really fun and really excited to get things started.
Yeah, for sure. We've also got Beast and Martin on call, but nobody cares about that.
Blah, 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 blah.
So
What's
then,
happening, everyone?
Hello guys, you alright? Thanks for joining us.
Tonight then, guys, the topic for discussion tonight is Warships Season 22. It's obviously the season we're running in right now. I'm going to be kind of leaning on you guys tonight because I'm not playing this season. I pulled out an eye. So when it comes to meta and strategy,
played a bit this season.
Yeah, when it comes to sort of the meta and the strategies and, you know, how things have changed and stuff, I'm going to be leaning on you guys. So, just heads up.
I think the most effective meta so far this season has been hide until the next effective tech.
Yeah.
or just hide from like week 2 until the end, which is working pretty well for me.
You know, it's funny too, boys, because like everybody, we started the first week very excited, just like we do for every single Warship season. And I don't know about you guys, but, I did things a little bit different this season with regards, at least to my main account, SkullCrusher. I picked up Brick, I picked up Explosive Drones. The fact that we had the abilities this season, I think, was absolutely, I don't want to say incredible. I want to say a little bit of a different change. Like, it was fun to get the abilities, but I'm going to be completely honest. We got probably some of the worst abilities that are available. I mean, if you think about it, Speed Serum, Tiny Shock, Remote Hack, think how crazy those abilities would have been. But the fact that, the season was focused around abilities, that alone made things very interesting. And then, of course, I think, Aaron, the one thing that we all missed, even, testing this, on the dev account, was how brutal it was going to be for the non-IT players, especially with the chest collecting for 2, 3, and 4 ER.
Yeah, for real. For real. There's a lot of players on Facebook who have been saying that they're kind of calling it a cash grab, but I don't think it maybe a little. I mean, they've given out some free instant training, which has been really helpful for a lot of people. I know a lot of people have capitalized on having that free instant training, and they've pushed all the way to diamond and parked up, so Supercell, I think, have recognized where it sort of went wrong on this one. Having no troop health early on has kind of screwed it a little bit, innit?
What they missed on this one was the speed serum. They've just put speed serum on for the weekend, and you think how handy that would actually be on Warships. So for a Seeker player, for dropping a speed serum on Bullet, so you could drop at the same time as your Seekers, would have been huge, and it would have made things completely different. Little things like that, I think, would have actually made it quite an enjoyable season.
It was the early part of the season that was the real grind, trying to get those chests to get, to keep the timer ticking, get those chests, to get those early level ups. That for me is kind of where it went wrong. People sort of, like you said, moaning about a cash grab. That's assuming that Supercell knew what was going to happen on this particular season. Was it tested to that degree where they knew it was going to be such a grind to get those chests early on? Yeah. Or did they just go, nah, I just think they went, let's do something different. Let's put troop health up the end. And in hindsight,
you know what? I think that definitely caught everybody off guard. It caught me off guard, and by the second and third day, I think we were all pretty much going like, what the heck is going on here? Like, even on my first couple streams of the season as a player with instant training, it was honestly taking me about 1 hour to collect 3 chests. I think it was in 3 ER gameplay. Now, translate that over to a non-IT player. I think I had a few people messaging me, letting me know that, they can literally only attack, twice every couple hours once their troop reloads. Translate that into chest collecting. Your chests are constantly 4-4. You can never stay on top of it. It was an absolute kick in the pants for the non-IT players.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Big shout out to you, Fezman, real quick, with the donos. Thank you for that.
Yo, right on, Fez.
I see in the chat, Falcor, I'll bring it up on screen so you guys can see. Falcor saying, I love this season. It's not the same old thing. It's too bad. We probably won't see it again. Do you think we'll see more of these, the temporary gunboat abilities being filtered in at some point? Do you think that's...
I think they should. I think... But for me, for someone who doesn't push Warships at all, I'm sat at 19. And obviously, I'm only collecting chests. That's all I'm doing. I'm not pushing at all. And still sat at 19. So there's something that is right for the casual players, but there's definitely something that's majorly wrong for the players that push. Because as, Skull was just saying then, having to collect chests and taking an hour just to collect your chest isn't on. The amount of times I came up against opponents where they would bark 1 and that was it was stupid.
I think that what would have made a difference this season is if the defences had have been spread throughout the tree.
Yeah. Just quickly, Alex Blake is asking what a non-IT player is, and non-IT is instant training. So people who play, the free-to-play players, basically players who don't spend any money on instant training or diamonds and stuff to reload their troops. They're the guys who have been really burnt by this season, and it's tech tree, I suppose.
Now, this is where I want to touch on the essentially the free instant training. You know, not once but twice that Supercell offered us. Now, I think a lot of players did really, really like it, but then I also got like a lot of negative feedback from players with regards to, you know, it was just a little bit too late. Like, we needed that free IT, you know, in the first week of the season to get things started, to get things moving, you know, happy to get it. You know, I think the first time was 1 day, second time was 2 days, which was actually, that was really nice as well. But what do you guys think about that? Like, you know, really kind gesture from Supercell, or just a little bit too late?
It may have been a little bit late, but I think the fact that they've listened to the community and recognised that something needed to be done to help people progress is really positive, and it shows that they're listening.
Yeah,
it may have been.
That's what I was going to say.
It may have been too little, too late, but actually, what they've done is shown that they are listening to the community and they do want to improve the gameplay experience.
Yeah,
you know.
Tiago's in the chat saying, I think a lot of people have given up on Warships and game after this season. I lost 8 players from my task force. See, that's rough. That's
huge. Like 8 players, like, especially if, let's say if you're you know, you're a 25-man TF, that's literally like 1/3 of your TF gone just like that. 1/4. No, sorry, 1/3. Math on the fly is always bad for me. But you know, that's a big dent.
Yeah, it is. That's exactly the kind of thing where Supercell need to, like we were just saying, take notice of what's being said and the feedback, and then act on that feedback. You know, not just listen and then half-ass something different next season. Act now, like today. They've shown it with the instant training. A couple of lots of instant training they've given away over the last few days. It's shown that they have the ability just to sort of flick a switch almost and make it happen. I'm sure there's more to it than that. I'm sure there's red tape and stuff they got to get through, but it could be done, you know? I think if they were to make more of an effort and actually take notice and then act sooner, then maybe, you know, people wouldn't get so frustrated and wouldn't leave the task forces and quit playing Warships and all of that kind of stuff, you know?
What might be nice is to do a free 24 hours of instant training, but to have it only when you're playing. So if you play for an hour a day, you get 24 days worth of instant training, but you only have it.
Oh, that's interesting, but I think that's like a whole new mechanic that would have to be added to the game for that to actually work.
Oh,
I like it, I do.
From a coding point of view, I'm not. Yeah. You know, when I come up with these ideas, I don't necessarily think about how easy it would be to implement. But I think that would certainly get a lot of the non-IT players, the casual players, more involved in Warships.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that.
I'm not sure how I feel. Just off subject a little bit. I see Valcor somewhere. That's awesome how you can put the comments up on the screen. Yeah, you like that, huh? It's kind of cool. Isn't it?
Oh, it's a very nice touch. Very nice touch. Like, touch. I want to read. If you're able to bring up, where is it? I think it's Neil Raf1 mentioned earlier. This was kind of touching what I was saying, and this is what I was hearing from the community as well. Supercell knew they'd screwed the pooch and gave IT. It was a little too late. I took my non-IT account to 19 and parked it. That was a second comment right there, so we can also touch on that one. But I just want to agree with Neil right there. Like, I was getting a lot of that from the community with regards to the IT coming in.
For sure. I mean, that did come in clutch for the free-to-play players. That really did come in clutch. Like I said, I know there's loads of players on Facebook and stuff and on Reddit who have all said that from the minute they seen that available, they literally took it when they knew they could play and sit and actually smash it out. They waited and collected it then, and then hammered it out and got to Diamond and parked.
I bet you this season of Warships probably saw the most action. You know, those last 2 days of free IT.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So Warships was already used this when I got. But if they did that during Crab, yeah, there is that. I'd like to see some instant trading given out during Crab too. But I don't. Thing is with Crab though is it's not a live player versus player, is it? It's not like a competition live in the moment. So it's not as much of it. It's not as, I don't know. It's not as pressing as what.
Where's that background noise? Sorry.
Yeah, no idea.
Is that you, Martin?
What's it sound like?
Sounds like a TV or a printer or something.
Yeah. Joe's using the Cree cut maker in the office here with me.
No.
Let me see if I can do something with. Oh, you.
3 dots. Some market is targeted for Supercell as a cash cow. Their Seeker players can't compete without instant training. When was the last time that Seekers were irrelevant? That's very true. It's very true. There are a few.
Yeah, but Seekers only have a certain amount of time in the tech tree where they're relevant anyway. Yeah.
Well, I think it was last season that we got them. What was it, after 4 ER? It might have been season 20 or 21. But the Seekers were readily available like after 4 ER. But previously, I think it's generally after 5 ER that we do get the Seekers.
Yeah. I mean, Seekers are overpowered. I mean, you could if you had the skeptical glasses on and looking at it, you could say that Supercell have made Seekers really overpowered, but also made the training time, in their favor in terms of making cash because of the time
I feel like they are catered more towards the the IT. The instant training player and the more competitive player, just due to the fact that, how are you competitively going to push Seekers and Warships if you don't have instant training? You lose your Seekers after every battle. When's the last time you did a Seeker battle? I mean, unless it's only beached ERs and all the defenses have been claimed. But when's the last time you did a battle and half your Seekers were alive or all your Seekers were alive? These troops die. They're overpowered. They get the job done, but they die. And then the reload time. Yes.
Squishy troops. We like squishy troops.
So yeah,
what about that?
I feel like they are, sorry, Martin. I just want to finish it up here. I feel like they are a very good troop, a very overpowered troop. But on the competitive level, the non-IT player only gets 1 or 2 battles with them every couple hours, and then they don't get the groove, they don't get the feel. For me, personally, it takes that 8 to 10 battles to get that groove going, to get that mojo, to work out the kinks, realize, okay, your timing's off on this, you got to delay it a couple more seconds. A non-IT player using Seekers, it's hard to figure that out when you're using them every 2-3 hours.
Yeah. I mean, Driver Dude has hit the nail on the head, saying that instant training is set up because they do need funding to keep providing the content for the game, which is right. Supercell is a business and they do need to make money. That's, we've got to be objective when we look at these things because, that is fundamentally why the game is there. And if that's, we can't demand that everything be free and be brilliant all the time because then there wouldn't be a game, It's, it's a balance. Exactly. It's a balance thing, isn't it?
Well, once again,
what about that comment? Sorry, there's a comment from Tiago Rookie there in the chat about 4 hours of IT on a sub drive.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Can you pull that one up?
Let's see if I can find it.
It's
there you go.
It's an interesting idea for sure.
There you go. Says, but if they want, they can offer an item in the submarine, for example, that give you 4 hours of instant training and make that item stops when they not used. They have to create a space that you could upload the item. Yeah, there is, that is an interesting little idea there, using the submarine to award extra bits like instant training or second builders and stuff. It's got some potential idea, that.
Yeah, that could definitely work. I've played other games, as a reward, and so they do say like a daily reward, like we have with the boats. And if you hit the jackpot, you get 3 hours of complete free lives, which in essence is instant training.
It comes
I
back
think
to
that's
your idea
definitely
before,
something that
Skull,
will
about
work.
having the spin wheel with daily rewards.
I was just about to bring that up.
I mean, something like, 2-3 hours of instant training. I mean, the whole idea of that, like, once again, for everybody watching, like, these are just ideas that we're talking about that we think could potentially make the game better. Like, this is nothing that is actually going to go into place. This is nothing that is going to be authorized by Supercell. This is us just, talking about it, bringing it up with the community. Community's got a lot of great ideas. And yeah, the spin wheel idea was just something initially thought of with regards to just having those extra upgrade and unlock tokens, because once again, fellas, how often are we short just 1 or 2 tokens?
Every time. Every time.
Yeah.
Factoring in the instant training for a couple hours, I think a day might be stretching it, especially on an idea like a spin wheel. But a couple hours, I think that would be great. Very incentive to play.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Driver Dude's here saying downside is a lot of kids play the game and don't have credit cards, and mum and dad say no. So it's also about age groups, people's ages playing the game, which I think is a relevant point, especially when it comes to Warships, where seasons like this, where the strategy is a lot more important than what it would be, say, on a normal season, where it's heavy rush, which anybody can do, can land the troops and flare the ERs for a couple of shocks. But when you're trying to preserve troops and trying to really stretch your attacks out just to even nick 1 ER and save enough troops just to get that 1 ER, your strategy becomes a lot more important to each attack. And being, the younger generations may not have developed that skill set yet, which makes it even more frustrating for them. And they are the next generation of players. They're the ones who are up and coming.
This is true. They are the ones that are going to be playing the game after us, or at least still joining while we're playing.
Yeah, that's it. So, go on then, guys. If you could change one thing about Season 22 right now, if you could say one thing to change right now, and it happened right now, what would it be? Like,
Who wants to go first on this one?
If you could change one thing in the tech tree to turn the season around from being frustrating and driving people away, what would be the one change?
In all honesty,
what would be the one change?
I don't think one thing would change this season. I think the tech tree was poorly planned.
No, Tiago nailed it. I would go for the early TH. I don't know if that would have made the difference, but that would have maybe made a slight difference.
Yeah,
we need that early TH, especially for the non-IT players.
I think early TH, or you spread those defensive nodes out, because by the time everyone got to 4ER, you had all of the defenses unlocked: rocket launchers, shot launchers, machine. So imagine at 2ER, all you had was machine guns and sniper towers, and then at 3ER you had a cannon, and then at 4ER you had the mortar, and 5ER you had the boom cannon and the rocket launcher.
Yeah.
I think that might have made a difference, because there was so much building damage there early on. You had to have that troop health to counter it. It's kind of like trying to sort of take War Factory on, or take a mid-level op on, without being able to do. Obviously, with ops or War Factory, you've got all of the troops, you've got all of the gunboat ability, so you've got the option to do smoky hits. Mm-hmm. But when that's not there, you've got that huge volume of defensive building damage and nothing to balance it.
Yeah, I think
this is true.
Yeah, it is true. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you put yourself in the developer's shoes. It is going to, it's incredibly difficult to plan a tech tree and just know exactly how things are going to develop and what people are going to do in advance, But I think the early troop health would be a start. I think that would have helped a lot.
We all know they can't change things mid-season. We all know that.
Yeah, no, of course not.
And what they've tried to do with the instant training is they've tried to address it by giving people the instant training, giving them the ability to sort of attack at will.
Yeah.
which I think is great that they've done that, for sure. You know, but that little bit of extra planning, and like you said, you know, even just adding troop health in there early on would have made a massive difference.
No,
I
absolutely.
think they need the players. They need the top level players to be able to advise them on what is maybe the right way to go, what can work, what won't work. They need testing.
At least have a little bit of influence. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Three Dots has said in the chat there that defenses should be applied spread out defenses should be applied all the time. It's absolutely absurd to have them all complete by 4 ER. Yeah. And I think that's absolutely spot. Can you imagine not being able to pick up rocket launchers until 6 or 7 ER or shock launchers?
Yeah, I'm going to use my Captain Borealis 4 ER account as an example because he's right. I mean, I think I have literally everything stacked on that account: max rocket launchers, max shock launchers, mortars, boom cannons, sniper towers, machine guns, flamethrowers, extra multi-nodes with D, you name it. And it's a battle of who can fizzle less, honestly, is what it comes down to.
Well, I had one battle earlier this season that I won by not taking out any ERs, but I did 4% damage and my opponent did 3% damage.
That's ridiculous.
It's just ridiculous, isn't it?
It is ridiculous when you think about it, but like that's what it's coming down to.
Yeah.
But then, to be fair, I mean, do you not think there's an aspect of Warships should be like that to an extent? Maybe not down to 1 or 2%, literally 1 or 2%, but when battles are that both players full clear each other every single time, you always know what the outcome's going to be. It's always going to come down to time. Whereas,
you know what? I think we were spoiled with I want to say seasons like 3. Seasons 3 pretty much all the way up to now, because season 2 we didn't have any of the new troops. Okay, it was still straight up OG troops. I remember in season 2 the dominant meta was the cheese. The Cryoneers, the heavies, and the Zookas. Warriors were also a great presence. But then we got the Bombas. Then we got the Seekers, then we got the flying troops, and then it really came down to, who can be faster. And that's when the base race, not the base race, I guess base race is what I'm looking for. No, base race is another term. That's when the speed really came in. So, who can clear faster? So we were so used to that for, season after season after season after season. And then we get right back down to this nitty gritty grind. And it's like, what is this?
I think that this season has been great, and I think a lot more people would have enjoyed it if it were just easier to collect those ERs in the early stages. Now, maybe that means making the deck layouts not so deep, so you can't have cluster bases, so that there's always one ER on the shore that you can just almost bar out, or put bar. I mean, imagine that if barrage and artillery had been there at 3 ER and 4 ER, at least you could have then barted the one and got your chest, rather than having to grind an hour to get 8 chests. That's ridiculous.
Yep,
Did they not have barrage at 3 ER? Yeah, you could.
I think they had barrage at 3 ER. You had barrage at 3.
There was the one, I don't know what season it was. It was one of the earlier seasons. Are you guys talking about when like 3 ER meta was like 6-second BART jobs where it was like just barrage and artillery and it was over?
Yeah, they were stupid.
Yeah, if you landed all 3 barrage right, you could take it down.
It was literally like a 6-second takedown. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of players were furious that season.
Yeah.
But see, those are the kind of seasons that really play into the free-to-play players. They're the seasons where the free-to-play players can capitalize and make bank, whereas the other season, when we've got players with instant training, have the advantage of instant training. And on seasons like this, where there isn't a Barty meta and it does come down to troops, that is kind of balanced in a way. If you look at seasons overall from one season to the next, one season favors one loadout like Heavy Rush or the Barty meta, which free-to-play players have it easy, and then there's other seasons where it's not so easy. And those seasons that have the Barty meta, the instant training players or the players who usually use troops and stuff like that are going to be the ones getting frustrated, because there's no, I don't want to say there's no skill involved, because that's not the right word for it, but
No, you can say it.
there's not a legitimate strategy involved where those players usually excel with the strategy. When it's a party meta,
I think we need to highlight Fezman's comment there.
Yeah,
as
that's
well.
a good one. That's a good one.
Because I think that kind of highlights the fact that we all play the game a different way, and I think a lot of people were saying base race every season with the heavy rush is absolutely stupid, and then like Martin's just said, this season is a lot of fun. It's a different way of playing, and I think we're always going to have some people that will complain. There's never going to be a perfect season for absolutely every single player in the game, because if there was, we'd all be legendary.
Yeah, that's true. And
that was season 1.
Yeah.
For those that remember season 1, we're all laughing at that one.
I enjoyed season 1.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
unlimited chest.
Season 1 and 2 with the unlimited chest glitch. That was loads of fun. I really enjoyed that. So
never again. Never again.
Yeah, no, that was. Do you know what? I think that was one of the factors that killed Warships' potential early on, because Warships is great when you think about the potential of what it could be and what it is. But first impressions are everything, especially when it comes to something like this in a game like Boom. First impressions are everything. And those first impressions were a broken Warships where if you knew how to exploit it or glitch your way to a win, you were laughing. But if not, then
it was essentially those that found it and exploited it early. Because I'll be honest with you here, fellas, when I found out about the glitch of the limited chest in season 1, there was literally I think 1 or 2 days left. I did not get Legendary X in season 1. I was one of those players that I knew about it late in the season, but I didn't grind it out. I didn't get it. If you actually look at my Warship profile, I think my highest rank is Legendary 8, and I did that on my own in season. What was that 3-month season we had? The marathon one, season 5 or 6, whatever it was.
4 or 5,
yeah. Grinded that one out like a boss, got to my Legendary 8 status. I think I absolutely loved it. I think Legendary X will be out of the question forever and for always, unless we have a 6-month season. But yeah, it was the players that found out about it and, told other players within the community that really essentially, took advantage of it and, maxed out everything. It's crazy when you went back and looked at it, and some bases were completely maxed out, tech trees completely covered. And that was also the season I think we had, was it 8, 9, or 10 rocket launchers? That alone was something I wish we would see again, is the many rocket launchers.
Yeah, I mean, if they were going to do a really long season like that again, I think that season was 3 months long or something silly, right? If they're going to do something like that, then they need to spread the tree out, like we were saying earlier about the defenses and stuff. Spread that stuff out. Don't have it all available very early on, because the defensive meta just becomes, maxed out, and then it's all about how you just get through it. And then with slowing down the defensive stuff and maybe having more offense up front may balance it a little bit more in the long run, throughout the entire season, rather than having everybody max out on defenses in the first couple of weeks and then burning out.
Just touching back on what Skull said there, I think it would be quite nice to play around with the defensive meta, because every season the standard issue is 5 machine guns, 4 mortars, 5 cannons, 3 rocket
launchers. And then you have the multi-nodes to add, 2 more machine guns, 2 more mortars, etc.
What about one season doing away with boom cannons completely? No boom cannons in the tech tree, but there'd be 5 rocket launchers available. Or do away with flamethrowers and mortars, but have 15 machine guns available. Something crazy like that.
You know what? I love that idea. I think that's crazy, but I think they'd have to call it a blitz season and have it 3 or 4 days. Because I think if you actually had a season that was 21, 28 days, and you didn't have boom cannons, but you did have 5, 6, 7, 8 rocket launchers. think about like the heavy choppers, the
So
whatever defense, whatever offensive troop is counter to that defense would just dominate.
Take heavy chopper out the tree as well then.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think a lot of people and a lot of players would like that.
I think a lot of players would support removing Seekers, for sure.
Yeah.
This is the one season that I'm actually like really, really liking them. So no, let's keep them in for now.
or just add half a dozen hot pots.
Ooh. Hot pots or micros. Yeah, can't go wrong with that, boys.
Make it so that you can make your base almost like a crab stage. You can really, those choice nodes, I think, are kind of key to having more choice nodes with different choices on the, some really, I think we touched on it before, having both offensive and defensive choices on those choice nodes.
Yeah, we said that in the last stream, didn't we, about ideas?
Yeah.
Only Me's just brought up a thing about stars. It says, shorten the star gap so 4 ER doesn't match 5 ER and 5 doesn't match a 6, etc. It's such an unfair part of the game knowing you rarely win against a higher rank. What do you think about the star matchmaking system then? Because I've got quite strong feelings on this one.
I think, there's a lot of things that come into something like that, and we know for a fact that you get matched on stars and ERs. Once again, tech has absolutely nothing to do with it. And once again, I think we would need more people, more players playing the game, because the problem with this is, especially when you start getting to the higher ranks of warships, if I'm a 5 ER and I'm grinding it out, as far as I could go, you've got to realize that, there are going to be 6 ER, let's say if I'm 5 ER, there are going to be 6 ERs that are going to be at the same rank, same star count as me. And the higher I go, the less 5 ERs at my same rank they're going to be, which opens up the possibility to likely match that 6 ER. So I think to get rid of that, honestly, we would need more people playing the game right now. Because, the player pools are just way too small.
Yeah.
I think at that point, you're kind of a victim of your own success.
Yes. I like how you just worded that. Absolutely.
Again, though, that comes into playing the strategy. Like I was saying before about having the seasons where the strategy is not so important. Part of your strategy should be your star management, knowing when to push and when not to.
Yeah.
So
Martin touched on that earlier.
Yeah.
Martin touched on it as, only really playing when you've got the tech advantage or when you can really make your tokens count.
Yeah.
If you can suddenly push up and get that extra boom cannon, or if you can get that extra rocket launcher or whatever, then you play. I think that's kind of what Martin touched on earlier would be a good idea for people to learn.
If you look at the guys at the top of each rank level, so at the moment I think the top guy is Legendary 3, and you look how many battles he's fought. You compare that with the very last Legendary 1 player, and it will be sort of 4 times as many, because they exploit those push points. They only push when they know they're going to win, and that's why those top guys have win percentages of 68, 72, 75%, because they're only playing when they've got that tech advantage.
Yeah. You know what, Martin? You are spot on. Now, I know it's going to sound bad when you say exploit, but there's no other way to actually explain it. I mean, there's no essentially cheating that's going on. They are just fully capitalizing on essentially the warship tech tree and their push points. You don't go in and play for the sake of playing. You go in when you can collect those 3 chests and unlock that heavy chopper, and then push for another 10 battles, and then you stop. You wait, 24 hours, whatever, and then you repeat.
If you want to make leaderboard, that's exactly what you do. If you're just playing for fun, then you kind of jump in and out, but if you're pushing for leaderboard, that's the way you have to do it. Absolutely.
I like Robert.
I think we should highlight Flint. Just highlight Flint's comment there for a second. Instead of Supercell giving free instant training, maybe a faster reload time would be more beneficial to everyone.
Yeah, and I like that.
that's a massive point there, because the reload times actually aren't consistent with the normal gameplay.
No,
they're a bit longer, aren't they?
I think
so. A normal reload time.
I think they just appear. I think they're actually shorter, but they appeared longer because you can build up a reserves on warships.
Stack more, yeah.
You can stack more,
but you lose them quicker.
Yeah, that's it.
The whole point of warships is that it's live gameplay. It's quick. It's fast paced. You can push at your sort of leisure.
Yeah,
and I think adding in that shorter time would it sort of encourage people to play it a little bit more.
I like Robert Lee's idea. It says about they should do mini tournaments like who finished top 100 last season, compete in a 2-day elimination tournament where there are no fixed tech tree. I think just tournaments in general are everything. That would be huge for Boom. Just have any kind of tournaments, whether it be warships
if there was prizes or
PvP, things like that. I mean, we run Task Force versus Task Force and things like that, and people love it, but it doesn't get the hype that what it would be if it was an official thing run through the game. That would be huge, especially on warships as well. If you had almost like a knockout round, where everybody can play, and if you finish in sort of the top 1,000 or something stupid like that, or top 500,000 players, then you go through to the next round, and then the next round. Then it comes down to say the last 4, and the last few matches or the last few seasons or whatever are played live on the YouTube channel, or via a creator or a boom tuber. Something like that would be massive. So tournaments, Supercell, sort it out.
I think a really easy way to look at it is, do you remember a couple of years ago now, the Chinese community did a tournament on Mega Crab, and they put up a prize pot of, what was it, $10,000 or something like that.
And didn't
it was to anyone that could beat the Chinese community, and I can't remember his name now.
Master Morty.
Master Morty, that's right.
I knew the second you mentioned that tournament, I'm like, wait, stop, Skull, stop, let him finish.
But something like that.
They interviewed him. They had somebody that actually, I believe, flew down. They took pictures of him. They interviewed him. Like, it was a big freaking deal.
Yeah, it was, and that was huge. And actually, it generated quite a lot of interest in our community as well, not just the Chinese community.
Yeah, it did.
And that was massive. And something like that, actually, if Supercell could put on something like that, it opens up that community even more, because at the moment we look at it and the Chinese community is very disjointed to the rest of the world. It's not one community, it's everyone else in the world against the Chinese. And if you opened it up and you got that more interest in it, and there was something like a prize fund available, then actually I think things would be done in a more efficient way. Yeah,
for sure. I mean,
look at the hype they had for that they had for Warships when they started things off with Turtle, OP, Chicken, and Zedmont when they had the initial Boom Tuber tournament.
Yeah, they got taken out to Helsinki, didn't they, to play live, didn't they, in that tournament thing?
Oh, that was awesome. To start off Warships with a bang.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Warships had so much potential to start off with, and I go back to it again about first impressions kind of ruined it. But I think tournaments and just changing it up a little. Don't want massive changes to sort of the format. Maybe a little change to the star system and how matchmaking works, and just spice up the tech tree and the deck layouts would completely change it for the better, I think.
I actually don't have a problem with the star system and the matchmaking, in all honesty.
No, I know, it's just I don't like when you get
I genuinely don't think it's broken. A lot of people say it's broken, and a lot of people will say okay, if you're 4ER and you get high up into 23, like I said earlier, you're a victim of your own success. If you're at 23 and you're 4ER, you should expect to come up against a 6ER. That's going to happen.
That's the honest truth. No, I do agree with you. That whole, victim of your whole success, literally, that's the nail on the coffin there. If I'm going to push that high up and then realize that, I'm literally well out of my player pool to match other, 4 or 5 ERs at my level, and then I'm going to start complaining because I'm matching nothing but 5s, nothing but 6s. That's when you've hit the wall. You've hit the end of that push point. That's where you've got to realize that, no, you stop, you let the chest build, and then you go back in.
Just off topic real quick. We're in the boombox, guys. The live stream is in the boombox.
Amazing.
Oh,
that's
right
awesome.
Awesome.
Live stream in
Watch
the
those
boombox.
numbers fly.
Did you sneak that in there, Aaron?
I might have done, yeah. I might have done a bit of tippy tapping over there. Right?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What you said earlier, Skull, stands true. That the player pool isn't big enough, and I think the reason the player pool isn't big enough is because too many people find it too grindy, which then kind of brings you back to the whole, well, how do you make it less grindy for people to get more people playing? It's almost a catch-22 there. Without giving away IT, which defeats the purpose of the business that is Supercell, they need to find a way to get more people involved deeper into Warships.
Yeah. I think when you're saying about you're a victim of your own success, you can actually flip that and put it on its head and say you're a victim of your, I don't know, by staying behind at 3ER and grinding out a bunch of chests to get keys for whatever at 4ER, but while you're still increasing your rank, staying at that ER when you could be moving up, then you kind of have it coming, You can't expect to stay behind in 3ER and only match 3ER players forever, especially when you're still pushing rank.
I'm sat at 300 keys on 19 at 4ER at the moment, and I'm not really interested in going any further because I only do it for the intel. But I just think if you want to push and if you want to hit that legendary or diamond or whatever you're aiming for in that season, you need to play the game the right way. And as we've just said, pushing on when that is no longer a viable option is the way forward. You can't sit on hundreds of keys and expect not to hit stronger players.
Yeah, totally agree.
You've just said there, Beast. You need to play the game the right way. Now, I know we often say there isn't a right way or a wrong way, but there's certainly a most effective way. And I think that, there's so many people with the main base as well, that you hit that first wall. It's about level 45, isn't it? When you start and when you hit that wall, how many players lose interest that don't find a forum, somebody like us or Skull or any of the boom tubers to give them that helpful advice on
if they just had a 1-minute tutorial on warriors, because even with warriors and non-IT, it is still so possible to just do your thing and dominate at that range, because I know what you're talking about, and it's rough, and that is a tipping point for a lot of players.
Can you check your PMs?
Check my PMs.
Yeah. Flint's got a really good point in the chat, saying faster reload times could possibly keep more players playing for longer and playing more, which will generate more people in the player pool and keep the game going for longer for all players. Just my thoughts. Which is a really valid point, actually, like we were saying earlier about matchmaking and there not being enough players. Even if there aren't enough players, having them playing for longer would alleviate some of that stress, wouldn't it, on matchmaking.
Yeah.
Only me who's washing up.
I think a lot of the problem now is a lot of the old heads. So, So people like me, who I'm not really a Warships player at all. Everyone knows this. I'm an operations player. But when that update came for Warships, so many people who only really did operations were like, well, they're not really bothered about us, so ciao for now. And just left the game. And a lot of them did that. So that level of experienced player at the mid to low level op range left the game. And I don't think that helps with the newer players that are coming through, because a lot of those low level players now don't have
whose background noise is
that
that?
experience.
I don't think that's me.
It could be Cheryl's just gone in and started making sandwiches for the kids tomorrow.
That'd be it.
For their lunch
Loud as hell.
Cheers, Cheryl.
Robert Lee again has come up with another good one, saying they should have daily challenges that give diamonds or resources or instant training. Daily challenges on warships. Now there's an idea.
Yeah.
Having little challenges like, I don't know. I can't think of it on the top of my head. But
Wait, think about it. Like, it's challenges like, do a battle where 50% of your troops survive, or to take out 4 ERs. Something ridiculously easy. Like, the whole point of this again just comes back to the incentive of having more players coming back to play, because essentially there's the rewards being given out.
So, do you think matchmaking this season has been difficult or different from previous seasons? What's happening, John Parra? Welcome to the stream. I've seen loads of people drop in, guys. I haven't shouted anybody out. I'm really sorry. I'm trying to follow comments and keep the conversation going. So if I've missed you in the chat, I do apologise. But hey, John. What's up? So yeah.
No. At least for me, I can't say that matchmaking has been too much of an issue. But then again, this has been a little bit of a different take for me this season due to the. I mean, I'm still competing. It's just like going for brick and drones right off the bat, completely 180, my push, like, for instance, I'm just getting my heavy choppers. It should be in about 8 hours, but I'm going to unlock them on stream tomorrow. Once again, no, I mean, for me, matchmaking has been fine. I think for the lower ranked players, there's enough players in that pool where you're queuing okay. Like, the only time I'm really hearing about players complaining about the queue is when they're higher up, and let's say they're 4 ER and they can't get any matches, and what happens? Boom, we go right back to the issue. You match a 5 ER.
Well, I'm playing at 6, and I've been matching 4 ERs quite consistently.
Oh, really?
It's been lovely.
Matchmaking hasn't been bad this season. I usually find matching bad, says Ben.
I would say matchmaking's been a lot better this season, and that I think is due to how grindy it's been, and how many people are stuck at 4, stuck at 5.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, like I said, I haven't really played this season, so my knowledge is kind of limited to what I see on Facebook and talking to you guys.
I personally haven't matched anyone higher than me. I've been sat at 4 ER for about a week, I would say now.
I've been in that situation where I have matched a player that has been an ER higher, but I mean, like, it's been very low this season compared to others. Like, I know some other players will have different experiences, and once again, it does come down to the player. Sometimes, unfortunately, a player will be unlucky and will get more unlucky matchups, or will be in queue for longer. But for me, and I see some positive comments in the YouTube chat as well, it seems like matchmaking is not that bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so Robert Lee there says, I'm a 6 ER, I match 7s 80% of the time. One question I'd ask you, Robert, is what level are you as a 6 ER?
He is legendary rank 1. He's actually, yesterday he was 2nd local in Canada. Today he's 4th local in Canada. He's leg 1.
So that seems to be the thing this season, is people are moving up in blocks, moving up in ERs in blocks. So I think from what I see, most people in Legendary are now 7. It seems sort of 20, well, probably 22, 23, 24 into 25 are 6. 20, 21, 22 are 5.
So quickly, big shout out to Jim Ward just joining the members there. Thank you very much,
Jim
buddy.
Ward. Welcome to the Cool Kids Club. Big shout out. Thank you very much.
Whereas the last few seasons, you'd find 5, 6 or 4, 5, 6 ER spread a lot more through that diamond rank.
How good are Super Warriors at 6 ER though? There's a question.
Epic.
I've seen some pretty crazy attacks with them, and it was a lot of fun. I know Aaron can probably relate if he dabbled around with them a little bit as well. Yeah. But using those guys on the dev build was awesome, and I've heard a lot of people using them to success, taking advantages of weak spots on layouts with the Super Warriors.
There's a hit where you heavy rush, so you heavy rush like the first 4 ERs, but rather than heavy rushing the ERs, you take out the cannons and the boom cannons around the ER, and then move on to the next one and drop a Super Warrior, then move on to the next. So you've effectively, what you have is 4 Super Warriors going at 4 ERs, whilst your heavies then heavy rush the last 2 ERs, and they're getting like 220. They're competing with Seekers.
And keep in mind, a Super Warrior can eat a boom cannon shot. Like it's not one shooting it.
Yeah, Super Warriors are surprisingly strong, but I think Season 22 abilities has gone the wrong way in terms of abilities. I think they're more disabilities than. I just don't. There's a like tiny shock, even just a tiny shock instead of I think Crystal Shield or something. You know, there's a couple of ones that would have been really overpowered. Speed Serum.
I think Speed Serum would have been too open. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Of course.
As much as we would have loved it, as much as I would have loved it, it would have been stupid. Can you imagine Seekers on Speed Serum and Warships?
Yeah, don't forget, Speed Serum also affects the defenses, doesn't it? So if you drop Speed Serum,
it does. But I mean, let's be honest here. Every time I'm using Speed Serum, especially on Main Island right now with Warriors, I mean, I don't even care about these defenses because I know like literally like 2 milliseconds and like this core is dead.
Yeah, even with 3% speed, the defenses can't shoot fast.
They can't keep up, exactly. Even their fire rate. Yeah, you nailed it.
I think Tiny Hack would have been interesting.
Yeah, remote hack
turning the player's defense on their, because then you'd be forced to like put a doom cannon where it didn't range any other defenses. Otherwise, everyone would be. Or an ER, yeah.
Turning people's doom cannons onto their ERs and that would have been great.
Oh, that'd be absolutely needed. But, you know, if it was cheap gunboat energy, you know, just picking off defenses like crazy and then going for the rush, I like it. I like it.
Sorry about that.
I think
the comment from Jim Ward there, he says, Jungle Jim here, what do you think of chests being closer together in collecting instead of 8 hours, maybe 6 hours apart?
That would change
6
the
hours
whole.
Apart is that means you would be able to collect all 4 chests in one day. I don't know if they purposely did 8 hours so it's not 4 chests in one day. I mean, I do like that, especially the way season 22 has been with how grindy. You know, collecting your chest earlier essentially means, you know, you're getting that next node earlier. It keeps you playing more. I like it.
Yeah. See, Robert Lee was saying about the remote hack. He was saying that no, they wouldn't. They would just hack the shock launchers and seeker everything like crazy. Which is, to be fair, he's probably
yeah. No, good point. Well presented. But I think what I'm trying to say is that the abilities that they've given us, certainly the early ones, and I think Skull would probably vouch for this, is those explosive drones were fun for a day and useful for about 12 hours, and that was it.
I don't even know what I can compare this to, boys. Their window was smaller than insert comparison here. I think I caught the window on stream when I unlocked them, and like, don't get me wrong, like it was fun.
I cannot that stream.
They are not a gunboat ability that you can rely on, that you can use to support with seekers, that you can use to support with heavy rushing, whatever. It's just a fun, useless, limited ability that you can smoke on a core and blow it up and go ha ha.
I think Ben Washbrook is absolutely spot on as well. I think when new season starts, you should start maybe 2 or 3 chests instead of 4 or 4, especially with people from different time zones.
This is exactly one of the things we took away from the last stream, and one of the things that we presented to Nuno to give to the dev team about.
I've got a feeling that you'll see that change implemented very soon.
Yeah, that's one of the things we did take from the last stream, the ideas and changes stream. We compiled a list of ideas and stuff, and that was on the list. That one.
It would also close the tech gap at the top because, Skull from Sugar Ship, people like Big Bear Ballin, when they jump on, they collect that first chest, push onto gold, collect the next 3 chests in gold, and then they're away.
Yeah.
Yep. Once again, that just comes down to like. At least like the elite Sugar Ship players. Big Bear Ballin, of course, is a perfect example. This man is so underrated at times in Warships, but he is so good. And yeah, it's a different mindset. So like they know, and when I say they, I'm saying like the top Warship players, they know how important it is to get to gold on that first day.
Again, this
you mentioned about closing that tech gap. Yeah, for them, it's about expanding that tech gap. You get to gold on that first day, every chest now you're opening, you are now up 2 or 3 extra tokens, depending on whatever the variation is from the iron tier. It's a different mindset when you're playing on that level. So I have no idea if the casual player would be able to relate to that.
Seems we're having some internet issues here at the moment. There's little fluctuations here and there, so
no worries.
But that comes down again to the strategy that you either adopt or don't. Some people just grind out their chests and just hope for the best, and then there's the other players. Yeah, exactly. And there's other players who like Big Bear and that who, they take the sneak peeks info, and then they plan their tech and they plan their everything, their strategy from top to bottom before the season even starts. They know what they're going to do.
Oh, and you throw in something like, Op Destroy and Shish Kebabber's Tech Tree Planner, they were using that to the fullest potential, planning from the very start. They know exactly how many keys they have. They know exactly, what node they're going to be able to unlock to. It's just, it's crazy when you think about like just the different level that they think and play on.
I mean, I'm sure there are people. I'm sure some of those top level guys actually crack out XLS and start banging out spreadsheets to work out.
100%. 100%.
There's people out there doing that to know exactly when and then they can add the various alterations to know. I need to be gold within the first day. I need to be diamond by the end of day 3 or day 4 to get where they want to be, and that's how you end up top 50. That's how you get that top 50 trophy.
DS, some old guy saying again about coming back to training times. If there is always going to be a rush mode, which ultimately there usually is at some point in there, there's always. It's normally 2ER, 3ER, where it comes down to heavy rush. They seem to like putting heavies in at the start of the season, don't they? Heavies or heavy Zuka. Then training times for those troops need to be cut in half or even 2/3 to keep the non-instant training people playing. Which, again, is a fair point. But like we said before about Supercell's got to make money, and, it's all about a balance. I see an Amy Chan in the chat. What's happening, Sugar? What you're talking about, Sugar?
I see Sugar too. What's going on, Sugar?
So I just want to quickly. We've got a comment here. Where is it? I've gone past it now. Adam Brown just saying thank you for this forum. We can only do this with the support of all of you guys as well. And, we really enjoy these chatting streams. And if you guys enjoy it, just make sure you are hitting that like. If we know that you guys are liking it, we'll do these more often for sure.
For sure. Thanks, Adam. So we're talking about rush meta. There isn't really a rush meta this season, is it? Not, it's more grind it out and lose all your troops before.
Well, it came in. It came in a little bit. Like even for me, even right now, I'm using Seekers for 5 ER. I'm getting the occasional full clear. I would still classify that as a rush meta. I was still using Warriors as well for 4 ER. I wasn't getting the full clear, but I was still rushing at least 2 or 3 ERs.
It definitely helps, Gavin. It definitely helps.
Sorry, Gavin, we love you too, buddy. We love you too.
Yeah, it definitely helps.
I just read his comment and figured out what you boys were giggling at. I'm like, is it something I'm saying here?
We're not going to read that out on chat, but
yeah, it helps. I'm not going to lie. Yeah.
Oh, that's too funny.
So yeah, we're talking about meta this season. I think that most people have skipped most of the extra gunboat abilities. I don't think they're going to play much of a role, are they? Let's be honest.
I haven't touched one.
No, neither have I.
I know, Skull, you've been using some of the drones, haven't you? You're using the drones earlier on to take the one of the ERs out.
They're not effective anymore, especially not the way I'm playing. Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you. The most bang out of my buck I'm getting for explosive drones right now, at 5 ER rushing with Seekers, is keep in mind that with explosive drones, there's a different mechanic than Seekers. Yes, they blow up, Seekers don't, but that's not what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is when you throw the explosive drones and they land, there's an activation time, meaning that if you throw the drones on mines, those mines are not going to explode right away. So if you do not throw a smoke, when you were trying to use explosive drones to clear mines, you were essentially throwing your drones on the mines to die instantly by the defenses. So I'm actually using a smoke to cover a mine patch, and then I'm throwing those explosive drones to kind of manage out my gunboat abilities, because I'm using, artillery, barrage, critters, and now smoke and explosive drones to clear as many shock mines out of my path as possible. So that's the level I'm at with using explosive drones, which honestly, guys, I would not recommend you do this with the drones, because I wouldn't even recommend you unlock them to begin with. But yeah, that's how I'm using them.
That's what I mean.
The abilities they've chosen. They've never been efficient. They've never been an efficient GBE to have or to use. And it doesn't matter whether it's in Warships, whether it's on operations, whether it's on your map. They've never been an optimal use.
They need to be like 20 times more strong, more bang, don't they? They need to do like 20 times the amount of damage to make them worth it. They're just like a cheap second set of critters that you can use, maybe.
Yeah, no, pretty much, and then, you get further down that tech tree, and then I think the Super Warrior is the real winner, the real shiner here. Yeah,
I think that, and maybe the Crystal Shield, maybe I
haven't even mentioned that. I was actually watching 204 stream before Boom Talk here, and he's seekering at 6 CR with heavy choppers and has Crystal Shield and was using it, and it's actually it's just as effective as you would think. I mean, I know it's another one of those abilities that we like to poke fun at and laugh at, but it's an effective ability. You're keeping your troops alive for that much longer.
Yeah,
you can kind of relate it back to the early level gameplay when. Say you're at HQ 12 or whatever. I'm trying to think when you unlock Kavan. But it's before you've unlocked Bullet. Actually, that Crystal Shield is amazing for when you're clearing your map with Warriors.
Spot on.
And you can kind of relate the defenses levels back to that on its effectiveness. And I think I've seen a few streams recently where I've seen people using it, and it looks like it works in Warships.
For sure, yeah.
And it could be something that they could sort of implement and keep in the Warships tech tree. I think out of this season, the actual gunboat abilities that I've seen being used, that's been the most effective.
Do you think that potentially further down the line, if they're gonna, I mean, I just quickly for an example, look at the mech. We had a season wreck with the mech, and then the mech's been in the tech tree ever since, which kind of makes sense because it is a general truth we have in the main game as well. But do you think that having temporary gunboat abilities this season, would you support or would you even want to maybe have a couple of the better ones for a start, obviously, in the tech tree every season, but have them like super expensive or very late in the tree? Would you support having them available? I mean, if you're looking at things like the remote hack or the remote defib ones, forget speed serum because that's obviously just ridiculous for warships. But things like, you know, the remote defib though, the one that's like second wind, I think that could be great for warships.
Or what about putting it at the end of a really pointless dead end node? So before it, you had like
The
medics,
tanks, medics,
the tanks. So you had to unlock 3 pointless nodes before you could get to remote defib.
Yeah.
That was then a dead end.
I think that would really make players think about it. Obviously, those that really want it would make that path. Majority would be like, nope, because then think about all the tokens I've got to waste here to just get to that dead end node. I love it.
What about if you put speed serum at the end of that node?
Yeah.
Oh, you know,
that'd be a game changer.
You know, I think players would still go directly to it, and like you guys mentioned as well about potentially having it at the end of the tech tree. Now, I think that's also not a bad idea, but again, I think that would really just benefit, you know, the top of the pack pushers, you know, the Warship Elite, those that get there first and then just essentially keep using it, you know, to their advantage to climb even higher.
I think Amy knows something we don't know. Maybe in a future season, we will see a season where mechs will be forced to shine. Stay tuned.
Well, let's be honest here. With that comment right there, we have to touch on tanks this season. We have to touch on tanks this season.
I was wondering when this was going to come up.
Question, boys. Before season 22, when was tanks a meta in Warships?
Never.
I don't think it has been.
Never.
Never.
So let's put let's put mechs in a similar position that tanks were in this season. I think Amy's absolutely spot on.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
But was that by design, or is that just, you know, did Supercell, the dev team, did they know that tanks were going to be meta when they designed this tech tree?
It was probably pure default.
Purely by chance. Yeah, everyone's in the chat like, no, never. Meta for season 1, Robert says, but I don't remember that. I think meta for season 1 was scouting the local leaderboard and getting unlimited chests.
I think the funniest thing about tanks this season so far, and I'm sorry to bring this up, Skull, but is your stubbornness to refuse, your stubbornness to use them, and when you finally
I had to, man. I had to, because honestly, you, Aaron, and anyone out there who streams can completely relate to this. You know, when you're doing your thing, when you're committed to your ways, like I've got no problem admitting that I'm stubborn, but you know what? Amy literally showed the light like super early, and I was still like, nah. We're gonna do the Warriors, guys. And I was like, nope. After that stream, we threw in the towel so hard. We converted the team tank like it was nothing. And you know what? Tanks actually got me to Diamond too. So I want to thank Amy for that, because a lot of people, you know, when they were first using tanks, they literally were like, what's going on here? I don't know how to use them. I did not know there was an actual drop to it with regards to the 2.6 heavy tank delay bullet drop here. You know, there's a certain delay to the drop. You know, then there's a certain ray flare you need to do, and then you pretty much manage your gunboat energy from there. So if you did tanks like that, then you were on fire. You had it down.
Well, I'd almost given up on this season because grinding chests was so hard. And then Amy did that tank video. I watched that and went, and it was a game changer for me. Absolutely changed my season.
Honestly, it was a game changer for so many.
I know through Facebook, through seeing some of the comments from people on Facebook, casual players, people that they're not on the leaderboards. They just play for fun, and so many of them were saying, "Oh, check out Amy's video. Have a look at Amy's video. They show you how to use tanks." and it made a huge difference to so many people. So thank you and well done, Amy, for that video. I know it was appreciated by a great many people.
Yeah, for sure. Andrew Down says that Max would have shined this season if they had been before tanks. What do you think? Do you think Max would have?
Yeah,
do you think
probably?
Yeah, I think probably.
Well, I mean, is it Max are 2? Max would be 2 per landing craft, right? And where tanks would be rocking 3.
Yeah, no, it's only 1.
Would it
be 1? Oh, then not at all. Tanks were also dominant because the fact that for the players that actually had the max landing crafts, which I think was a majority of them, if you were rocking 6 landing crafts with tanks, you had 18 tanks on the battlefield right there. If you had 8 mechs, I think the 18 tanks would definitely be way too. It would be better, my opinion.
Lots of people like Scorchers and stuff on the main base because of obviously the landing craft levels allow you to take the 2 per boat, but you can't do that on warships. If season 23 had that updated landing craft where we could get the 2 per boat, do you think the mechs and the Scorchers would become more of a regular matter if we was allowed to have?
I think Scorchers would be OP.
You think?
I think the tech tree boys. I think the tech tree would need like 5 freaking GBE nodes. You need like 250 GBE. If we're rocking 16 Scorchers.
Yeah, that's true. That is.
But think about it. We have had tech trees in the past. I think this one, where we've got 5 gunboat energy nodes.
Yeah.
Not this one, but one's in the past.
Gavin YouTube there has just re-emphasised. I think the real structure of what we've all been sort of saying throughout the stream. Many people play for fun, and others just when they're bored. And those are the ones that Supercell need to lure in.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that is definitely a thing. One of the things that we've asked for in like
D-man, sorry, that would mean 16 heavy choppers too.
Yeah.
Oh,
that is true. Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
One of the things we asked for in like the report, for the lack of a better word, from the last stream was advertising, and pulling in new players is going to be, the one and only thing I think that's going to drive more to the game in that sense. Scorchers could be meta at the end of this season, says Robert Lee. What do you think? Letting them get grappled with bullet like last season?
Maybe. I mean, Robert's up there, so I mean, like, if he's gonna make that comment, I mean, he might have a better understanding than the most of us because he actually is in Legendary, and has a better sense of what's going on up there. Personally, for me, I don't see it happening. Just because, the fact that, Super Warriors are up there now, most players are going to be going, with their heavy choppers, they're going to have their bombas already, or rocket choppers are readily available. I don't see it happening.
Okay. I just had
with only 1 per boat.
I just had
Yeah, that too. I mean, let's think about that as well. You can have 8 Scorchers, or you can have 18 tanks, or you can have 8 heavy choppers. What are you going to go with?
18 heavy choppers plus the 80 heavies that they poop out.
It'll be 180.
Oh yeah, if you had doubled, yeah.
But it's a good job you can only have 16 in it.
That'd be ridiculous.
Jeff Myers.
Definitely might be too OP.
I ruined my season by going back and getting rocket chopper and bombardiers instead of getting to 70 off first. Set me back 2 days. Now, do you think if they wanted to, or no, not even if they wanted to, would you guys support then? We're saying about the meta every season always turns into...
I know where you're going with this.
If it always turns into the same thing, how about having a season where you are limited to one particular set of troops? So heavies and bombardiers, or only heavy choppers and bombardiers, or heavy choppers and Zookers, and no other troops in the tree.
Yawn.
I mean, I see where you're going with that, but once again, I mean, I don't think that probably would catch on, just due to the fact that having the more troops adds the diversity and essentially adds
That
more
is
to
true,
the meta
yeah.
as well.
Yeah,
Like even this season, we're still seeing everything from, heavy rushing, full heavy bus rushing, split heavy choppers, seeker rushing, bombardier tank hits, bombardier heavy hits, heavy Zuka hits, cycle in each hero with each of those combos. So I probably don't think that would happen just because the diversity is it's there for the metas, and players like having that option of being able to choose. We might complain, which we do a lot, but we like having that diversity.
Yeah, diversity is the one thing that I'm always saying we need more of. There needs to be more.
So there's a comment here from Farmer Wyatt saying they should do a season with no HQ lock. But my opinion on this is where if you're early HQ, you can't unlock certain HQs in the tech tree. I just think that's absolutely ridiculous. I think you're sort of chastising people for not being in the game a little bit longer.
I understand why Supercell have done this, because all it would happen is people would only play to HQ 10 and then just play Warships with max level troops. They'd never have to continue playing the main game. But on the flip, that is even with the HQ locks in place like they are now, you can still play the entire tech tree. Just buy the Admiral's Key.
Yeah.
It's only a couple of quid, and it unlocks all, removes all of the HQ locks off, all of the ERs, all the way to 79. You can play the entire tech tree at HQ 10.
And
if you're down the pub with your friend, and your friend says, I'm playing this really good game, this is the best element of it, I really love it, love Warships to death, and this is Martin speaking, by the way, not me. So, so he's down the pub, he's speaking to his friend, he's saying, you should get into it, you will absolutely love it. And then all of a sudden, that friend joins, and that friend spends £10 on instant training and is absolutely loving Warships. Yes, he's only HQ 1 in the main game, but he's getting on, he's playing with match troops straight away, and he's learning. And actually, these players might come up with completely different concepts and completely different ideas of how to hit things and blow your mind with it. But it's opening it up to that wider community.
And then come into the main game from Warships. At the moment, everyone comes to Warships via the main game. Turn it around, flip it on its head, get them involved in Warships, and let them come to the main game from that. No, completely agree.
Invisible Mans, where's that comment?
How about a season without heroes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be interesting.
I think there's still a handful of players out there that are still playing without a hero.
Do you know what? A lot of players nowadays won't remember how we used to play the game before heroes, before tribes, and
yeah. If you hit 1.2 million on an op base, you was an absolute animal.
Yeah, you were a god.
Yeah, but that was before Deep Cut, Massive Attack, and Forlorn Hope, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
No,
when did heroes?
No, even when Massive Attack was still the top map, if you could do 1.2 mil on an operation map, you was a god.
Anyway, we're diversifying. That's for another stream. That's for another boom talk.
Ben saying we should do a season without barrage and artillery. I'd support that.
But free season, yeah, that'd be cool.
No barrage and no artillery. I mean, but then again, think about it. Those are also like so crucial. I mean, not necessarily for barting out an ER, but like for me right now, mine clearing.
Mine clearing, yeah.
So reduce the amount of mines that are available.
Yeah, because that's actually not a bad idea. Because I was going to say, I think everything is kind of there to balance each other out. I mean, I know I'm going to get ripped on this a little bit because I know there are things that are not balanced out. But I think it would be a severe imbalance to the tech tree if you were to take barrage and artillery out just for the purposes, the dual purposes that we get from it.
Or only put one of them in.
Yeah, that's a good idea too.
I think what I'm getting from this is that a lot of people are seeing the same things in the set tech tree, just in a slightly different order on a slightly different path. So what about mixing it up? And so take away barrage, but add crystal critters, because they can clear mines.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So just
and
on
also,
a side note,
heal
I've
your
just
troops.
opened up my warships, and I'm on
Yeah, they don't last. I'm not sure they last long enough to do much healing, but if your argument is that barrage, you use your barrage to clear mines, and yes, many seasons I've opened up barrage and not upgraded it just for mine clearing, then add crystal critters because they do the same job.
Yeah, no, I do agree with you. I do agree with you on that.
Just going back in the chat a little bit, I've missed a couple from Jim Ward. I'll bring it up now. Hey guys, I asked earlier, but what do you think about helping Pep by giving more keys and tokens to people who ended the last season at 18 and 19 versus being at 22 or 23 at the start of season 23? What do you think?
Sorry, I didn't.
I like where he's coming from. It's just then I think you would just get players that are higher up that would just start complaining that the lower level players don't play as hard and they get rewarded more.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Yeah, there is that. Yeah, you'd end up just staying lower. You'd end up staying lower level to capitalise on the extra keys, wouldn't you?
You guys stateside, correct me if I'm wrong, but is that not a little bit like the draft system in American football, where the lower you finish, the better picks you get for next season?
I mean, I believe it is. I believe it is.
We were leaning on you there, Scully. We were expecting you to know.
so like the worse you do this season, the better you. Not necessarily the better, but no, I quite like the way.
Saying that's true. That's how it is.
Yeah, Mans is all over it too. Like, yeah, I mean that is essentially how it works. I mean, I do like that idea. Let's say if you finish rank 18 or 19, you might get an extra 100. Well, that might be pushing it. Maybe you might get an extra 50. Upgrade tokens. Opposed to if you're in diamond and you finish at 22, 23.
There's an idea. What about putting 8 keys on a dead end node at the end of a load of rubbish, like we were on about earlier with speed serum after all of the rubbish stuff? What about sticking like 8 keys there or 12 keys?
Yeah, but what would be the point in wasting keys just to go and pick keys up?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
You dump like 68 keys just
It's all right, I've just finished this bottle of wine and I'm not necessarily thinking for things. But...
Nice try, Mime. Good try.
Oh, no, that's too funny. What's funny though? You would get like a small handful of players thinking that, oh yeah, that's a deal, I'm going for it.
Yeah, I didn't think that one through before I opened my mouth. Sorry, my bad, guys.
Oh no, that's too funny. That's a good one right there.
Jesus.
Yeah, Axe Darby, Pete is my warship hero too, buddy.
Yeah.
It's just a shame he's so busy and can't stream a bit more frequently.
Oh yeah, I mean, this season has beaten, like, once again, it comes down to why we're having this, this Boom Talk episode about season 22. It's beaten so many people down. I mean, not necessarily beating us down, but just, you can only, like, a season like this, let's be realistic, I think would have been better as a 21-day season. Give us 3 weeks of this heck, instead of 4 weeks of it.
Yeah, for sure.
I think when the season's done, I think it will we'll look back on it and go, yeah, that was a good season. It was different. It made a change from the normal, but kind of being stuck in the middle of it and having to spend, like you said, an hour to grind out.
I do need to touch on one more thing as well, with just going back to Pete as well. Amy mentions there as well. Check my comment about Pete earlier. Pete also is playing with a mini account, Baby Shark. And I think it would have been amazing just to see more of the progress in streams. Like, think about, he took a rank 1 account with no previous experience from the previous season due to not playing that previous account, and then went all the way to rank 24. I'm nowhere near 24, and I finished last season, I think, 22, 23. I mean, that is a Cinderella story on its own.
I think he made 25, did he not?
It's a legendary.
Yeah,
one.
he might be. I got to go back to the leaderboard and follow up, to be honest.
Yeah, here it is. Pete started a new account this season as an experiment. Rank 1, no stars. He's currently in rank 25.
Okay, thank you, Amy. Yeah, there we go. Rank 25. Like, that's crazy. That is crazy. I couldn't even do that, with the advantage that I had from last season.
But again, see, that comes back to employing a decent strategy and not just grinding out chests, actually thinking about what you're doing and doing it, It's what you were saying earlier about instant training guys on it, about the guys missing out because they didn't have instant training. But if you don't, you can play without instant training as long as you've got a good enough strategy to compete, Usually.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely.
This season, though, however, is the caveat where it's just ruthless. For the want of a better word, it's just absolutely ruthless.
They should have titled it Warships Season 22, Ruthless.
Yeah.
I think I might have a better ring than abilities. What do you guys think? No.
Season 22, Disabilities.
I think when abilities came up, like so many other players, we all got so hyped about what abilities we were going to get. And then obviously when the sneak peeks popped, it was such a kind of, the balloon just burst.
It was a letdown. I mean, we joked, didn't we? We were streaming before then, and we said about the abilities, ones we were going to get. And we joked about getting the really bad ones. And then...
Yeah.
And
that's the reality. But I think we all kind of knew that was going to be the reality, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, it's a balancing act, isn't it? But, yeah. You can't hype it up when there's nothing to hype, And without without at least one of the decent abilities, like Tiny Shock would have been huge.
Staying with Warships, but a little bit off topic a little bit. Ben Washbrooks put a comment in the chat earlier. Diamond charges are ridiculous to a node that has never been changed, but you get charged the same amount because you might have changed another node 3 or 4 times. Absolutely with you on that, Ben. It's something that I've kind of felt for a long time. So basically, if you've got your first proto node that you're kind of switching between Sky Shield and Doom Cannon, as was the case a couple of seasons ago, that goes up 100 keys, 200 keys, 300 keys, 400 keys. Your next node that you open, if you want to change that, I think that should be start at 100 for a change, 200 for a change. I
don't think.
What do you think?
I don't think changing. I think once you make a decision, I think you should be locked in. But that's just me. I get the whole.
I like the flexibility.
I kind of agree on that.
I think the mechanics on that is good. I mean, being locked in. I mean, you're stuck with your decision. So I like that concept of it. But then, of course, as you progress through the ERs, right, like things change. The defensive layout change. Having that ability.
True. Yeah.
Does make a big difference. The fact that the point that Supercell does have the diamond, it goes up 100 diamonds until it caps at that 1K. Then that puts you in the position where you have to manage your diamonds, because if you want to make those changes, you're paying a penalty, and that penalty is your diamonds. I think it's a great topic of conversation, but I think the way it's set up right now, it doesn't need anything to. It's fine. I don't think it needs to change.
Yeah, I can see it both ways. What's happening, Pang? Welcome to the stream, buddy. Pang says,
"Oh, Pang, what's up, buddy?
If I knew this season was going to turn out this, I would have pushed."
Pang is all about that farming and doing those kind of hits for real.
Well, that's one of those situations, a little too late. They're finding out too late. So unfortunate.
Yeah.
Well, I think what would be your conclusion then on this season? What was the one thing they did bad? What went wrong this season? What do you think was the killer for it?
Too many defenses and not enough troop. I think too many defenses and not enough troop health.
Yeah, I think the whole no troop health thing would be my.
I think if you were to have a poll, not only on your YouTube channel and on the BBTFRG Facebook page as well, and if you were to ask that question, and if you were to put troop health in there and not having it early, I think that would be the clear-cut winner I mean, I think we can already get a good amount of feedback just from the YouTube chat there. Like Macer411 to start. Jim Ward, troop health lacking here.
Yeah.
Oh, some old guy says we needed a ranged troop earlier. The only really ranged troop we have is, well, Zuka and Bombardier. We did get the Zuka fairly early. Zuka is classified as a ranged troop, is she not?
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose she would be, yeah.
So yeah, no, I think it does come back down to the troop health. Early troop health. You need TH either in 3R. Yeah, after 3R, you definitely need troop health. I'm going to go with the troop health.
Yeah, Shady Mike's. I've actually enjoyed this season. It's been great having to play 792 battles to get one chest.
Yo, we got Pirate Pete Minstrel popping in. What's up, Pete?
What's up, Pete?
What's up, Pete?
What's up, Pete? Good to see you, mate.
Yeah. Why aren't you sub to this channel, Pete? That's a great question.
What was that?
He just asked why you're using sub to this channel. I think that's a fantastic question.
That is a good question, yeah.
Isn't it funny when you realize that, Pete? You go to a BoomTuber's channel that you watch, and then you're like, wait a minute.
It's probably the best question this evening.
Ben Washbrooks just said, I think each node should be independently charged diamonds per node. Just don't charging high diamonds that you have never changed before. So basically, the price should increase for the ones you've already changed, but have a set price for ones that you haven't. Is that what you mean? I think that's what you mean.
I think that's what we're saying is that so that if you're constantly on one node, if you're constantly switching, then yeah, that should go up. But if you open another choice node further down the tree, that should start at 100, and as you change that node, that should increase incrementally as well, rather than that being sort of. You change that early node 5 times, it means your next change is 600 diamonds. So if you want to change that later node once, the first time, that costs you 600 diamonds.
Yeah. Pete's just said in the chat, make Boom Beach like crypto trading. Everyone's on that crypto thing at the moment, isn't they?
Yeah, I've been doing a little bit of research.
But no, I mean, I think that going back to the conclusion there with regards to like what is the one thing looking back at season 22 here that Supercell could have done to potentially make it more enjoyable for not even the average player but just everyone. Honestly, I think it does come down to that troop health, that early troop health making such a difference. You know, your troops dying so fast, no IT, reload times taking forever. It's a catalyst. It's a domino effect. One thing after the other.
Yeah, it's a recipe for frustration, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
So obviously we've got to ask the flip side of that question.
Mm-hmm.
What's been the best thing about this season?
Ooh, who wants to start with this one, fellas?
For me, I
think the added competitiveness.
Yeah, I was going to go down the similar lines and say, it's forced people to have to think more about their strategy and to get that 1 ER, to make it more of a challenge just to get those chests. I think that's a good thing. I think they can do it in a less frustrating way, but I think making it more of a challenge is a good thing.
So what you're saying is no troop health.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Let's have some defensive building damage too. Why not?
That's good.
I'm playing devil's advocate there.
I was going to say, I think in a way, no troop health has been. There was a stage, and I'm sure you'll agree, Skull, and many of the other people that have kind of pushed a bit this season. There was a stage when you were looking at battles and thinking, how can I win 1 ER? How can I get 1 or 2 ERs to try and win this battle, to get this chest? And
that is still me.
But that's different. And from what I've picked up of the Warship streams that we've done, that's what people have been crying out for, is something different.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, Warships is all very samey. I keep saying it. It is all very samey. Everybody get the same ship layouts and all that. So diversity is great. So having this season that's made it a challenge just to even get one engine I think that's a positive. I think that's a takeaway that I think people,
I agree. No, I do agree.
I think a lot of people
the challenge is there.
I think a lot of people are enjoying the challenge, but the delivery of that challenge is lame. It's frustrating, you know. There's other ways they could do it, but
I've just done 6 fights to get 1 chest.
yeah, it's not bad.
I'm super excited about that.
Oh yeah, I can just tell by the enthusiasm in your voice.
See where I am now. I only have to do 1 fight to get 6 chests.
Jim Ward, this has been great.
For 60 hours.
Jim's catch you later, Jim. Jim saying, this has been great. I have to run an errand. Please let us know when the next Boom Talk will be. We certainly will. We'll be doing
Absolutely,
more of these.
Jim. Thank you for tuning in today, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming by, Jim.
These have been really good fun, and I think we're getting quite a good reaction from all of you guys in the chat as well. And it's something that I'm really looking forward to carrying on.
I think this is a great comment from Dinesh. This season has been less of a base race, and that's a good thing. So in that way, less troop health has been good. See, I think that's a fair comment. The whole rushing ERs and base racing is... I think people are just sick of it, aren't they? I think it's just... It's the same every season.
No, that is a very fair comment. And once again, I think this does come back to the fact that, we do like to complain and be negative on a lot of things, but there is also positive in a lot of this as well. And, I like Dinesh kind of, looking at the bigger picture here. And once again, this season has been less of a base race, and that's a good thing. So in that way, less troop health has been good. I love that. I like that a lot. I think that's great.
Yeah, so there are positives to take away from it.
Can I just all of you guys in the chat? This is only the second Boom Talk we've done. We love doing it. I hope you love doing it too. Obviously, there are hundreds of comments coming through in the chat, hundreds of questions, and I know we've missed a hell of a lot of them. Yeah. It's a format that we're working on, and we're trying to kind of come up with the best way of getting as many comments up as we possibly can. Mm-hmm. So if we've missed any, those of you that we have missed, we're sorry. But it's something that we're working on.
Spam it a couple of times. If we miss it, throw it in there again.
If you really want it read, type it in block capitals.
If we do miss comments as well, though, and it's something that you're really passionate about, and it's something that you really think will make a difference, send it to one of us in PM, because we can always add it to a list afterwards. We do a list after these streams. And it's something that we send to
that's what we did last
Supercell. Yeah. And if it's something that we think is really relevant as well, we'll definitely add it into the list.
Aaron, can you highlight Falcor's last comment?
Yep. I see it from both sides. My main with IT, I love the season and the struggle. My mini with no IT, I parked it on day 1. Yeah, I mean, I parked very early. I wasn't even struggling. I wasn't struggling to get ERs or anything like that. I don't know. I just fell out of love with this season very quickly.
Yeah, I think a lot of people did.
It was easy to do that. Like I said, I was almost, and you guys know what I'm like with Warships, and I was almost ready to pull the plug on it this season. And it was that.
Oh, you were,
that
man,
tank.
Yeah.
It was that tank video. That tank video from Amy that turned it around for me.
Yeah, and I think that shocked a lot of people. The whole
Cedric, as much as you guys would love that would never happen.
No, never. Absolutely never.
So
I mean, I'm brave to ask. I love it.
Pete's just made the comment in the chat. I think a lot of top players fell out of love with this season. But is that because it's been different? Is that because it's been something slightly removed from what a lot of them have become familiar with and used to?
Possibly.
I think that's a fair assessment. I think, yeah. I mean, like I said, for me, I fell out of it really quick this season. I just haven't been able to... I mean, I'm not a big worshipper anyway, but, the whole grind is... I don't know, it just needs shaking up, doesn't it? It needs a kick up the arse.
It gets to people, if this is not the the repetitive nature of it literally got to more than enough people.
Pete,
and I think
because
that's one
no
thing
one
definitely take.
Yeah,
Pete's just said, "Go on, you take it."
Pete, it's because no one wants to play
Go
with
for
tanks.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
probably.
There's only one thing worse than playing with tanks, and that's playing with mechs.
Yeah. And even then, not that much worse. Yeah. And my tanks are still rank 1, and they're not going any further than that at all. I won't play
Hey,
them on
you
the
know what?
main game.
I'm still using tanks on Captain Borealis. When I do my when I stream tomorrow with SkullCrusher, I'll probably just start things off with Borealis, rank 4 ER, diamond rank 22, and some layouts still do call for tanks. So I'm still making the most bang out of the buck with them.
What time are you going live tomorrow, Skull?
You still care
for my
about your
Warship
rank,
stream? I'll be starting tomorrow, most likely at 11 a.m. I'm not going to say 10 because I know it probably won't happen. It most likely will go for 11 a.m. EST.
Eastern, yeah. Okay, cool.
So, what do you think the takeaway from this one is then? I think people are enjoying the challenge, or I think some people are enjoying the challenge and the slightly different meta in terms of tanks and stuff. But the frustration side of it is what's let it down, I think, isn't it? I think that's...
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, once again, I think I do want to look at the positive, and just like we all do, when it does come to the season, even though I know there's so many things that we can pick apart on, but there is also light in the storm as well here. Yeah. And, little gestures, from Supercell, offering not once but twice, 2 days, 3 days total, 1 day on the first occasion, 2 days on the second. That free IT, I think, was a really nice gesture to the community. And overall, just going back to the gameplay, the casual to the competitive nature, the diversity. I am always, and I know you are as well, Aaron, Beast Mode and Martin, the diversity of the offensive metas. I love that it's not all just heavy rushing. There is rocket choppers involved, there is seekers involved, so I think we need to keep things interesting, keep adding more troops, Supercell, keep the diversity of the offensive meta up. That's what I want to say.
Yes, I agree with that.
I do.
Keeping that diversity keeps people on their toes, and it actually keeps it interesting. And as much as people complain things are broken, this is wrong, this is this, that and the other, the main thing about this is keeping it interesting.
Yeah, Groove's got a good point. He says first impressions weren't great this season, but at 5 VR it was getting fun again. So for the people who
I like that, Groove. Yeah,
unlike me who parked up and just sacked it, if you push through it and did keep going, the season has got good again. So that's a good thing, I suppose. It's not going to be like that for the entire season, I suppose. So yeah.
Like with 7 days left in the season now, like we are in the home stretch, and we also got to think about that. Majority of players are also at that point where they're parking, where they are throwing in the towel due to the nature of the season, and the player pool is going to get smaller from here to the end of the season. But I hope that the players that are still playing, make the most of it. Have fun, guys. That's ultimately what it comes down to. This
have
is
fun,
a game,
enjoy it.
okay?
Yeah. Gavin,
have fun.
Gavin YT there says the game needs another section of the game. The game needs another section of gameplay to keep it interesting, as we have to wait for Warships to end and play Crab. That could actually be quite a good topic for another Boom Talk.
That's definitely a stickler, that one.
Yeah, make a note of that, you two.
A stickler, I like that.
It is. Well, no, it is because, a lot of people who play Warships, Crab and Warships, sorry, they really struggle with going from Crab straight into a Warship season. And you can see why they do. Unless you're Cactus, who, quite frankly, I'm still not 100% sure he's human. But they do. They struggle with it, and you can see why they struggle with it. It's
definitely.
Cactus is half mech.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, come on, guys. We knew this ages ago.
For sure.
Yeah, without doubt.
Well, I think we've pretty much covered it, don't you? I think we should wrap it up.
Yeah.
And
no, I think this was another great episode of Boom Talk here, and
sure.
Once again I want to thank you boys, for inviting me, for making me a co-host now, which I absolutely love. I know we're still in the early stages. Last Boom Talk was the pilot episode. Great feedback from the community. Love the direction that we're going in it with, catering to a topic for the second episode of Boom Talk here. Mm-hmm. Aaron, I also want to touch on the fact that highlighting the comments on the stream, I think is amazing. For me, for the viewers, for everybody, it's a very nice touch to Boom Talk. I think this is something you should definitely add moving forward.
Yeah,
and I look forward to seeing what Boom Talk brings.
For sure. Yeah, no, I've enjoyed it tonight. I think we've
that thing about the comments on the screen. We touched on it before. In our admin chat, we want to keep everyone involved as much as possible, and I think that's a great way of keeping everyone involved.
Falcor
for sure.
Falcor just said in the chat, Boom Talk, what to do with the week off? What to do with the off week? Great idea. Yeah, we'll look at doing something like that maybe.
I'm not sure we could manage one every night, could we, boys?
No.
No, definitely
I think
not.
once a week or once a fortnight or something.
No. Judging by the look I've got, just add no.
once a week, once every other week, permitting, depending on schedules. No, I think this is great. And especially with this game, there is always something to talk about.
Yeah,
for sure.
without doubt.
Yeah, no, that's it. I think people get engaged with these sorts of streams because they get to have their say. It gets listened to and discussed, without it getting toxic like it does in other parts of the community.
That will not be tolerated.
Yeah, so we will keep it going while people enjoy it and people get engaged with it, and while it's doing good things, we will definitely keep it going. So we will catch you for the next one, guys. Thank you, Skull, for coming on and hosting with us again.
Yeah, I also just want to give one last 2 words here. Well, it's going to be longer than 2 words. Once again, guys, honestly, big shout out to the BBTFRG for this. Honestly, please make sure you guys are subscribed and leave a like on the stream to let us know that you are enjoying this and you would like to see more of it. The likes on the stream is for something like this is a great indication of it. And of course, guys, show the love to the BBTFRG. Please make sure you are subscribed. Aaron, Martin, Beast Mode, thank you, fellas, and to the YouTube chat as well. Boom goes the dynamite.
Cheers, guys.
Much appreciated.
Only me, just quickly to answer your question about the jelly bear. Very, very, very soon. That's all I'm going to tell you. But it's going to be soon.
There will be an announcement, but very soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I have mine just looking at me, haunting me.
Gavin's just saying, the problem is if Supercell don't look at this, nothing will change. Well, that's I understand that sentiment, but we do have the ear of the community manager, so bear with us. We're working on it, guys.
Exactly. This is not something that's gonna happen overnight, over a week, over a month. These are potential ideas that we are talking about that we think potentially could better the game, better the community. These are all just ideas that we are discussing, nothing that is actually being implemented in game.
Yeah, not yet anyway.
But not yet, I love it.
Just quickly though, shout out to Nuno, who on the last Boom Talk was here. He was in the chat chatting to you guys right there with us. He took loads of notes down. We took loads of notes. We've exchanged notes, and it's all been sent off to the dev team and stuff. So, I know it feels like and can seem like we're not listened to and there's no sort of communication, but there is communication there. It does happen. It's just sort of done behind the scenes. So fear not. These ideas and opinions and stuff aren't falling on deaf ears. It's not just for content. It does actually make a difference, and it will in the long run. So keep them coming, guys, and we'll catch you next time. And as always, happy booming. Good later, guys.
Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.
Good night, everybody.